Well, I've been working on this sort of stuff for a long time. I mean, I feel like I've been doing it forever and I can't stop doing it. It's like something that is it's like a bug that you've got. It's like an addiction. It's like something that you have to do. I feel I have to do it. I don't know why. And, sometimes I think it's driving me completely mad doing it, but I have to do it. And this process that we're going through now probably started for this particular piece of work a year ago. Last year I did a production called Outside. It was a sort of work in progress, and we did a seminar alongside it called Art as Action. And it was really me trying to engage with the Cyrenians, the people that are living and working with the Cyrenians, to engage them into some kind of arts program. So I started that a year ago, and we did this work in progress, and it was quite successful, and people seemed to think, oh, there's something here that we should explore. There's potential for us to look at this and see if we can build on this. So we decided to set up an arts and media program at the Cyrenians. That was the first step. And that was a really interesting step because suddenly the Cyrenians, which is a homeless organisation, had its own arts and media department. And I was there just as a sort of person that was doing the work there. And there was nobody else, but it was a start. It meant that we had established ourselves within the Cyrenians as an arts and media program. And then gradually, over a few months, we managed to we got a little bit of money from the Cyrenians themselves, and we started to make activity. So we worked with the people that were looking for employment. We worked with people that were in Virginia House, which is a sort of quite a progressive hostel. It's not the emergency hostel, it's where people go after they're kind of on their way to recovery. On their way to sort of a more settled life. So we started doing a few little workshops and development work, drama, music, a little bit of filmmaking. And it occurred to me that we should really try to do something that was substantial, to make a substantial piece of work that involved a lot of people and tried to kind of express something of what it is that we're doing in the arts and media program. What are we doing there? Why is there an arts and media program? What's the point of having the arts for people that are homeless or recovering alcoholics?
Well, I mean, that's a very topical debate, isn't it? What is community drama? How can you gauge the success of community drama? But from what I've seen, I've known Alan since last year, and I've been in, I've been immersed in what you could call the homeless world. I've been in hostels, I've worked in hostels, and I've seen the difference that applied drama can make to residents and people in that environment. From 12 weeks, I did intense drama sessions in Virginia House, and there were so many different effects from those. You had social and vocational improvements as well as performative improvements. So that stigma attached to drama and applied drama for me is a barrier which people need to overcome, and then to start appreciate and see what can actually be achieved by doing applied drama.
I always believed that the arts were important, and the arts could be useful, and the arts were a really strong vehicle for personal change and transformation. So I believe that, and I thought that the way to express that most clearly was to create a sort of larger scale piece of work. So the Cyrenians, for the first time ever, applied to the Arts Council of England to get funding to do something. And they were successful. I mean, that was a major first step, to get funding to a charity, a homeless charity, for an arts program. It was really good. So after that, having got the money and deciding that we wanted to do a large-scale event, then the big question was, well, what's it going to be? And that was a struggle. It was a difficult decision about what to do. We talked a lot, I talked to you a lot about immersive theatre and trying to take over a place and have people living there for a week and starting to kind of create small pockets of creativity you know, over a week or so, maybe people living in the space. But the practicalities of that were kind of out the window. So we decided to make this piece, and suddenly, at one moment, there was an idea that emerged, and I'm not even sure where it emerged from. You never know where good ideas emerge from, about the idea of sanctuary, about city of sanctuary, about creating a little city of sanctuary. And we started talking about that. And then we started talking about the idea of a manifesto for the city. So there's kind of be a new manifesto for a city that might lead us into a city of sanctuary. And that's a pretty strong idea. I thought that was a really strong idea. So everybody could come and they could put their piece together and they would create, if you like, a living, breathing city of sanctuary.
Well, for me, you know, I see the sanctuary more as a metaphor. You know, the fact that this project has enabled groups and community projects to come together. So you've got people from Crossings, from Recovery Rocks, from Better Days, from people to Virginia House, you know, organisations that would probably never collaborating together. And, you know, over the last 2 weeks, that's been, for me, a sanctuary. You know, it's more of a metaphor, the actual sanctuary for me, because you've got so many different people working together, and, you know, it creates an experience like no other.
I think because it's with so many different people, it's not with just one aspect of the community, which I think is really important, because personally as a drama practitioner, what I've found is that with community theatre, it's usually like based around a certain part of the community, whereas I think with City of Sanctuary, it's so many parts of the community, and it's bringing together people who on a day-to-day basis wouldn't work together, but have really enjoyed working together and experiencing what we've created through this piece.
Well, I really truly believe that the arts are a means for us to understand ourselves better and to understand the world better. You know, that's pretty simply what I believe. And that in the process of making art and creating art with people, you start to understand yourself better, and you understand your position in the world better, and you understand what's going on in the world better. And so if I think that, then other people, I think, would think that by participating in artistic projects. And even people who don't think that they want to be involved in artistic projects, if they get an inkling of some way of being more creative in their lives, they start to think in a different way. And it's just sowing that seed of, you know, if you feel a little bit creative, it's going to change you, it's going to help you, it's going to make you live a more settled, interesting, open-eyed way of living. So I think that's the kind of basic premise on which I'm starting, that I actually believe that art can change people's attitude, it can change people's behaviour, it can change people's ideas, it can feed people emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. These are things that we need, you know, we need as a basic need. And I think the arts do that for people. So that's why I do it.
Yeah, for me, art reinstores a person with humanity, and that's what I would say to anybody. Acting, the arts can help save a person from themselves. I've met, you know, for me, the road of life, it can go two ways, but I always feel that people who have become involved in drama have felt they've led a lot more of an enriched life. It's like if you had have asked me once upon a time, even when supposedly I was part of society, I was working, what do you do, Drew? I would have said, I pack bottles, and that would have been it. But now I can actually say, well, I engage in drama, I engage in creative writing, I engage in spray art, I engage in photography, and it's also made me a lot more interested in other people's perspective on life. It's made me a whole person, and I would say that's what the arts does.
I suppose what I'm doing is trying to prove to other people that it is worthwhile spending time and money on arts projects for people that are, you know, in difficult circumstances.
The more I see of what's happening and what people are doing, the more I can see how it's really a way to enable people to tell their stories, to give them voice. People who often, I mean, a lot of the people involved in this, would be people that are kind of on the margins, or people who have had challenging, circumstances, maybe haven't had the opportunity to do something like this. And here we are giving them, everyone's got a chance to sort of have their say, to express themselves, and that can be transformative. It's brilliant.
Mostly it's about relationships. It's about the relationships that you make with everybody that's involved in the project. And some of those relationships are really complicated and difficult. And that sometimes you ask of people to do things for you or to contribute something for you, and they start by getting quite excited about that, and then they find it's not interesting to them anymore, and they drift away. So there's a real necessity to keep people engaged, really deeply engaged all the time. And that's quite hard, if you're thinking, oh no, I don't want to do this because I prefer to go and have a drink, or I prefer to go and meet my mate and smoke some dope, or I don't know, whatever it is that you would prefer to do than because it feels more comfortable, because it's what you know, and what I'm asking them to do is what they don't know. So keeping them engaged in that process is really, really hard work. And it's a constant, I was going to say battle, but it's not battle, but it's a constant sort of journey of engaging, involving, talking, cajoling, seducing, enticing, just to get people to come and just to be to check it out,
It's one thing to be doing it, but the other side of the equation is the people seeing it, and that's where the real sort of fruits are going to come, with the people who witness what all these different people have got to say, to hear the stories, to see the work, to see the cumulative project, and all the people that are going to come and see that, the effect it's going to have on them. And I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be something very powerful and very amazing.
What you see, I mean, sometimes what you see, I remember, I went to a Crossings session once, and they always start their sessions by sharing who they are a little bit, so everybody would go, hello, my name is, and I'm from. And at one route, they were doing this, and they were singing little songs. So I heard songs from Nigeria, China, Armenia, Iran, England, Ireland, Italy, and suddenly in a circle of people. And then the final person that came to was an Armenian guy, and he said, I just wanted to give you some news before I sing my song. He said, I've just got status to stay. And suddenly the room just, it just lit up. And he said, I don't want to sing a song, I want to dance. But please, will you get some drums for me? So everybody rushed out of the room. I mean, it was so incredible. They rushed out of the room, and they got their drums, and they started beating their drums, and they started singing, and they started playing guitars, and he was dancing. And suddenly I thought, this is what it's beautiful. This is what's beautiful. There's authentic moments where art plays a role within life. And life and art is so connected that it just makes you go, wow, that's unbelievable. That's beautiful.
Here is my home. They're ready. Guys, are you ready? Yes! Audience, are you ready? Yes! After 3. Oh, sorry. For those who sing in harmony.
Yeah, I mean, that is complicated and difficult. It's really complicated and really difficult, and you have to try and play with lots and lots of different methodology, I suppose, to try and achieve that. So some of what we do is very heavily rehearsed and is constantly sort of bashed out in the rehearsal, and some of it is left very, very, very vague. And there's little conversations happening which kind of lead us into maybe a piece of writing or a piece of music or a song or something, but we don't know, that's not scripted. You know, there's a little bit of freedom there for a conversation to go any way it needs to go. So you try to get that edge of authenticity, that spontaneity in those moments, and then you try and get those solid, well-rehearsed moments at other times, and you need to play between the two things. And sometimes you upset, you know, the well-rehearsed bit by a little bit of danger, a little bit of undermining what you've rehearsed. And in the bits that are free-flowing, you suddenly say, okay, we're going to settle this now, and we're going to put this into some sort of rhythm, or we're going to make it something that's very, very clearly defined. So it's about playing between those two things, I think. What I'm saying, and I'm saying it strong. And the last line is what?
The stony tip of Earl Grey's nose. Hear me.
Hear me. Hear me.
Hear me. This city shall treasure its pedestrians and its small places, its irregular shops. It shall hang on to its alleys and its tunnels, steep stairs and uneven chimneys.
I want to carry on, you know, I have to carry on. I do have to carry on because, as I said earlier, it's a need. I have I don't know what it is. It's a very strong, obsessive need to do this stuff. And it's not helpful. It's not healthy, you know. I actually, you know, get bad eyes through doing it, and I cause myself real problems, you know, financially, emotionally, with this work, because I just get so kind of obsessed by it. And I can't stop it. I have to do it. I have to do it. So I will do more things. I want to spread the words wider. I want more people to be involved. I want more people to see the work. I want to change attitudes about the arts in this country. I want the arts to be recognised as being a very important part of life and a need that everybody has to be creative and to have the arts as part of their life. It's to do with well-being. It's to do with feeling good about oneself. It's about self-esteem. It's about self-expression. The arts are really, really important, and I don't think they're recognised in this country. And we've got a mission to change that. I want to change the way the arts are perceived in Britain.